Meu nome é Veronica.
My name is Veronica. I'm 23 years old. And in my childhood, I was sexually abused by two people in my family. And that left a mark in me. And I grew up with those complexes, with conflicts. I began to be very evil and malicious very early until I reached adolescence. And I never had a good relationship with my parents because of that. So I kept everything to myself. I always kept sadness, everything to myself. I never liked sharing what I felt, one of the biggest conflicts I had. I didn't want to be that way. Sometimes I tried to control myself to be a good daughter, but I couldn't. Because I remember the conflicts I went through and I thought, I'm not a good person. There's no reason for me to try to be a good person. I hated my mother. I wanted my mother to die. So what I didn't find at home, I found on the streets. I started using drugs. I started drinking a lot. And I started using marijuana cigarettes. I started smoking. Then I got into a relationship. In this relationship, I started using more drugs because this person used drugs too. And in this relationship had betrayal, one of many betrayals, because there were several betrayals and I didn't accept the last one. And so I broke up with him. And then I started having an anxiety attack. It was a fear, it was a worry, but the anguish became very strong and I couldn't sleep. My heart raced a lot that I was desperate, gasping for air. No one could understand me. No one could understand me. I tried to express myself. Mom, I'm feeling anxious. Mom, I'm feeling this. No one could understand me. It was very difficult for me. I lost my job because of this, because I didn't have the energy to work. I screamed and I cried in despair because my mind was bombarded with doubts. But why this? Why that? You will never be able to be someone in life. You will never be able to be happy. I had no hope. It's strong to say this, but my life was rubbish. So that's when I took a knife and mutilated my wrists. But I didn't just want to feel pain. I wanted to find my vein and die. It was the only thing that came to my mind, the first thing that came to my mind. So that's what I did. I took the knife, went to the bathroom, and closed the door. I started crying and I said, Mom, there is no chance for me. God doesn't want me. And the person who helped me was precisely the person I hated, my mother. I didn't want her help because I hated her. That is when she invited me to go with her to a meeting in the church. I thank her to this day because if it weren't for that prayer, I wouldn't be alive. Maybe I would have been alive, but I would be in a psychiatric clinic. The word really has power because first I didn't want to hear it. But when he spoke to me clearly that there was a solution, he showed me testimonies of people who had won. When he said that nothing was impossible for God, and he said, Veronica, do a test with God. So I said, okay. And I said with those words, if God exists, something will happen. And I managed to sleep. I hadn't been able to sleep for a long time. I started to obey. And when my mind was filled with bad thoughts, I said to myself, I will remain. I will continue. And I started to have the strength to go to church. I didn't have that. When I was baptized in water, I couldn't believe because I thought I would never be able to belong to God. And I thought, I don't want to go back. I want the Holy Spirit and I will receive it. Until one day I received the Holy Spirit. It was the best day of my life. It was on Wednesday. When I received the Holy Spirit, I was sure that God was with me. On that instant, I realized how much I was loved because I didn't feel loved. I never felt valued. I started to remember people who were suffering what I suffered at the time of the search. And that made me feel a huge pain inside of me. And I started to think, I need to talk about Jesus to those people. I need to show that there is a God who transforms, who saves people, that there is love, that He is love. Today, I am totally different as a daughter, as a sister, as a friend. Today, I am different even for myself. Because when I remember how I was, I say, it's not me. I didn't do those things. How I wanted to see people suffering. How I was angry. How I hated my mother. The Holy Spirit is the safe point. When the storms come, I have something to hold on to. It is that person, being that never leaves you.